So yeah, to get the kit, you want to go visit Steve Parker Land Rovers Limited, Steve Parkers Limited, to steveparkers.com. And I'm looking at this on my phone. Yeah, the layout of the website may be slightly different, of course, if you look at it on your laptop. But yeah, if you go to menu and then you go to conversions, if you scroll down, you see there's lots of different conversion kits that Steve Parker does. But if you scroll down, we want to look at the 200 TDI Discovery engine conversion kits into 90/110 4-cylinder Land Rovers. There's also conversion kits for going to series vehicles as well. There's various different kits, but the one we're going to look at today, as I say, is the 200 TDI Discovery engine into a 90 or 110. So we'll click on here for more information on the kit. Just a bit of a description of the kit there, which is quite useful. Let's just go back again, and if we click on click here for parts, the full conversion kit's a bit of a modularized approach, so it's really good because it can you can effectively do it to suit your budget. You can do various elements of the kit in different stages. But the one we're going to look at today is the air filter kit. So if we scroll down, let's see where it is. There we go. Right, so the one I'm going to look at installing today is SPCK224A 200 TDI conversion air filter kit. So this is what we're going to use to install the 200 TDI engine from a Land Rover Discovery into a 90/110 vehicle. So that's the kit. So currently we're recording this video around August-September time 2020. The price might vary, I suppose, and depending on when you look at the video. But if you scroll down, you'll see a bit of a description on the kit, and if you click on the link, there's also a bit more information on how you fit the kit, with some photographs. When you get the kit, you'll get some detailed information, some detailed instructions on fitting the kit. Yeah, but hopefully this video will help you to fit the kit if you find it difficult following written instructions, I suppose, like I do sometimes. So without further ado, let's get on with it, and we'll show you how we install the kit in our vehicle.
Right, welcome everybody. Just a quick video. We've got a kit from Steve Parker, which will hopefully help out our old Land Rover here. As you can see, we've got a 200 TDI engine. It's actually from a Discovery, and it's sat in our Land Rover. We're having some problems with it, basically. It wasn't really pulling enough, it wasn't getting enough air to the engine. So contacted friends at Steve Parker Land Rovers, and Steve's famous in the Land Rover world for doing lots of conversion kits. But one of the recent kits that Steve's developed is a kit to essentially fit an air filter to the Discovery 200 TDI engine when you fit it to a Defender. So we're going to have a go at fitting the kit today. What we're going to do is going to walk you through what's involved in fitting the kit. Well, first of all, what's actually in the kit, what's involved in fitting it, what tools we need, and in true Land Rover fashion, we're in our unit now, and we've got lots of rain and water outside, so apologies for the background noise in the video. You're going to hear rain bashing against the tin roof. Right, so this is what's included in the box from Steve Parker Land Rovers. I'm going to walk through what's included. Just bear in mind, I have actually fitted this kit already to the Defender, just to make the video go a bit smoother. I thought we'd fit it, see how easy it is, and then so it's actually been fitted, disassembled, and back on the bench again. And I have to say, it's really straightforward to fit. So what we've essentially got in the kit, the main thing is the air filter body, of course. It's worth saying that the way Steve develops his products, he tries to make as many things as possible kind of standard off-the-shelf Land Rover parts, but clearly to make the conversion kit he's had to customise some of the components as well. But the good thing about using standard Land Rover parts, when you want to replace things like air filters, the air filter cartridges, it's a standard part, so that's the good thing about the kit. So the main air filter cartridge body is here. As you see, it's a standard Land Rover part. I've also got standard connector hoses and Jubilee clips to link it all together. This is the brackets that you get. To get two brackets to essentially fit onto the air filter housing, and it's got the bobbins as well to kind of link the brackets to the clamps, I should say, to the actual mounting bracket. This is the clever bit, really. This is the part that Steve Parker Land Rovers have developed to help you fit the kit. Right, so to fit the kit, it's as I say, it's quite straightforward. You don't need a massive amount of tools, just really basic shop tools. So first thing you'll need is a drill, the drill bit. It's a 6.5mm drill bit. You're going to need a bit of steel rule or tape measure, just to measure for making your bracket up. You're going to need either a screwdriver or a hose clamp, or a tool just to do up your hose clamps. You'll need a couple of 10mm spanners, a 10mm ratchet if you've got one, that will help, and then just a marker pen just to describe again where you're going to drill your holes on your mounting bracket. So yeah, again, you don't need very many tools to fit this kit. So before we start the job, make sure that you undo your battery terminal. Just take your negative battery terminal off. Always good practice when you work on the vehicle, just in case anyone wants to start the vehicle or stop you making any short circuits, shorting things out and causing sparks that you don't want. So that's job number one. Right, well, let's get into fitting the kit then, shall we? So on our Defender, you can see our washer bottle is actually located on the side of the on this wing. So you need to remove the washer bottle, because the bracket on our model, certainly anyway, the bracket that the washer bottle sits on is going to be used to mount the air filter. Yours might be different. They come in different models. They can either have 1 or 2 pumps on them, but whatever, you need to remove that. It does need to be mounted in a different location. So if you look at the instructions from Steve Parker Land Rovers, you'll see options I guess to remove and replace that in a different place. But yeah, that needs to come off first of all. I'm not really going to explain how to remove that because it's quite straightforward. If you look at it, you can see there's a couple of bolts just to remove that on. So it's quite a straightforward thing, but you need to take that off first of all. Right, so the washer bottle's off now. As you can see, we're left with the bracket. Like I said at the start, we've actually fitted this already, so you can see we've actually got a couple of holes where we've mounted the bracket. But we'll show you how we managed to do that. But this is a standard bracket that you'll have left when you take your washer bottle off. Right, so once we took the washer bottle off, we need to start assembling the kit. So these are the brackets. The first thing is to get the brackets assembled with the bobbins. So as you can see in true Blue Peter style, here's one we made earlier. So obviously this is how the kit starts, and it's really dead simple. It's a matter of getting the bobbin, just popping it through the hole, just putting a washer and a nut on there. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. So you want to get it assembled so it looks like that. Dead simple. Right, so the next job, once you've got your the rubber pieces onto the brackets, the next job is to put the brackets onto the air filter housing. So they just slide over. You want to make sure the opening part of the brackets is actually towards the tops as you reach into the engine bay. It's probably also worth mentioning, again, this is in Steve's instructions, but on the air filter housing there might be a small pin or a lug. To make it easier on this one, just grind that off. And again, Steve recommends just grinding that off if you do find there's one on there. So the next step is to install this assembly onto the mounting plate. So we're going to do that now. So if you recall, there's a couple of extra holes in ours because we've already fitted this kit, so we had to drill some holes, as you will have to do. But the holes that come standard with it is the sort of 4 corner holes that the bracket sits on.
So again, just add your washers, add your nuts, and get it all done up. You don't have to do this up too tight because it's going to come off shortly. This is just so we can fit it and align it so we can get our holes marked for where we're going to have to drill to mount it to the bracket on the Land Rover. So you don't need to hang off this. So once the bracket's on, we'll then tighten these bands up, and again you get these nuts and bolts within the kit. Just tighten them up with a 10mm spanner, or a couple of 10mm spanners. Probably worth mentioning you know, where to put these bands. So this is the end of the air filter, the cap that screws off. So this band is snugged up against there. You see, there's no real gap there; it's right against it. This band just goes where it needs to go because obviously it's governed by the where it fits onto the bracket. The other thing to note: once it drops in place, you'll see that it's quite close to the alternator. So you just need to wiggle it a little bit and just position it roughly so it's not touching the alternator. There's only a small gap, you might have a 5-6mm gap there. And then at the back end of the air filter you can see, again, it wants to be quite tight against here as you can. There's normally between 5 and 10mm gap between the bottom here and the air filter box. That's roughly how it should be. And the other thing that's quite critical really is the vertical position of this, because clearly once your bonnet shuts you don't want this catching on your bonnet and so on. So it's suggested to do the top of this bracket here should be about 25mm above the top of your wing. So as an example, I've got a piece of 25mm box section here, which is kind of useful guide. And as you can see, that should be level with that, so you don't want any higher. It's probably recommended once you have fitted it roughly in place before you nip it all up, just gently close your bonnet and just check it's not fouling on your bonnet. But yeah, like I say, about 25mm proud of the top of your wing. I appreciate when you're fitting this by yourself, it might be difficult to get everything in place, but one idea would be just to get a couple of mole grips and just clamp it on in the rough position where you want it to be, to aid you when you're about to mark it up. Because all you're really doing at the minute, you're just trying to get it roughly in the right place, so you can mark out the holes that you'll have to drill into your brackets. Because obviously we can't, Steve can't put the holes exactly because it depends on your individual vehicle. So that's the bit you have to do yourself. Right, so 25mm high and it's clamped on. That's roughly where it wants to be positioned then. So the tricky part really is to, now that's
kind of roughly in the right position, we need to be able to drill or mark and drill our holes into this bracket, so we can attach and bolt them to the existing bracket that you used to have your water bottle on. So quite conveniently, in our situation, you'll probably find something similar on yours, is that the existing holes in the water bottle bracket are kind of perfect for fitting onto this bracket actually. So in terms of trying to get them, you know, to know where the holes is, you can use whatever method you want, but you can use a scribe like this tool, and all it is just something to put through the existing hole to scratch a mark on the back of the plate. So in this case, just put the scribe through the existing hole and you know, scratch a mark on it, so that when we unclamp this and take it off, you can see roughly where the holes need to be. So a little tip for you there. So next thing is just take it back off the Land Rover, and it's just a matter of drilling these holes. Like I say, we've already fitted it, so we've already got the holes. But what you'll have to do on yours is just take this clamp back off again. Probably worthwhile using the marker pen just to mark on where you described it, and then drill these holes. They're roughly, well, it's up to you what bolts you use, Bailey, but something like 6.5mm drill will do that. So like I say, yeah, take this all off, and you can leave the clamp onto this bracket. It's just a matter of taking the air filter back off again before you drill, just so obviously so you can drill through this and not drill through your air filter, which would be nice. So it's up to you how you want to actually mount this bracket on here. You can either just use a nut and bolt, but in our situation we've just used a riv nut. So I'm not going to explain how you use riv nuts. There's plenty of videos on YouTube on how to install a riv nut. It's probably also worth mentioning, again, this is in Steve's instructions, but on the air filter housing there might be a small pin or a lug. To make it easier on this one, just grind that off. And again, Steve recommends just grinding that off if you do find there's one on there. So in our case, we're going to mount the bracket on here. You can use a nut or a bolt if you want. A nut and a bolt. We've chosen to use a riv nut. Riv nut's quite a good tool. I won't show you how to install a riv nut because there's tons of good videos on YouTube on how to do that. But in the existing holes, like I said, this one and this one, you'll probably have to widen them out. If you look at we've used an M6 riv nut here. If you look at the specification for your riv nuts, it'll tell you how wide, what diameter to drill the hole to accept the riv nuts. But yeah, install 2 riv nuts there. The next job really is to fit this bracket, mount this onto where you put your riv nuts or your holes on the existing bracket. So just to make it easy, just take this apart, just take the clamps back off the air filter housing. You can obviously keep the clamps mounted attached to the bracket. You'll have already pre-drilled your holes. And it's a matter of now just mounting that onto the bracket on the Land Rover. So right now it's just a matter of slotting the air filter housing across the bands, and then making sure that your cartridge, your air filter cartridge, is already installed. Because to change that cartridge, you need to remove this again. So make sure it's already fitted on inside when you attach it. Fit the lid, and as usual, the drain hole goes to the bottom. Screw it on tight. And then you can clamp up your air filter housing. Then just put the nut and the bolts through and just clamp it tight again. One thing that's worth noting, and again this is covered in the instructions, but your dipstick in its normal position on a 200 TDI Discovery engine, this dipstick, if you don't move this or adjust it slightly, it will want to be where this air filter now is. So the instructions do talk about, I guess, the proper way of doing it, which would be to relocate this further forward and maybe fabricate a bracket up to do that. It is actually possible just to bend it out the way. This is what we've done on our installation, just by putting some sort of block of wood under there and then basically bending it round and you know, making sure that this bracket is the current position, but it's been bent slightly, and it does actually clear now. So it's up to you how you navigate around that problem. But yeah, there's a couple of methods of where you can do the official method from the instructions, or you can just do like we've done and just bend it up slightly. As you can see, the dipstick is perfectly fine. It comes in and out just normal. So that's absolutely fine either way. Right, so yeah, you're assembling these components. You want to make sure it's in this U sort of shape, like a U-bend shape, I think it describes in the instructions. So then push that on, make sure it doesn't go in more than, I think the instructions say more than 2 inches. So that's pretty straightforward. Right, the instructions do say on the smaller of the pipes, just put a small amount of sealant on that before you slot it together and tighten it up, just to stop any water and dirt ingress into that. Just make sure you don't get any sealant on the inside. You don't want any other sealant getting its way into the intake. So be careful with sealant. Next thing you need to do is fit this short rubber connecting pipe onto the air filter. Just use a bit of WD or some lubricant to get it on if it's tight. And then you want to loosely fit the hose clip, the Jubilee clip, on that. Again, that comes in the kit. Remember to put both Jubilee clips on before you slot the other end, the other pipe on. Right, so instructions now say to fit the short flexible pipe onto the elbow. You might find it easier, we find it easier to actually fit this flexible pipe onto the turbo first of all. It's just a bit tight on our installation, so see whichever you think, but this is the way that we're going to do it. Right, so you'll see there's 2 ends on this. I know it's obvious, but the smaller end, this goes onto your turbo. So just feed it underneath. So make sure the Jubilee clip's already on it before you get there, and that'll be annoying if you don't. And it's just a matter of doing up the Jubilee clip. Attach the top part. And then tighten your Jubilee clips up. Yeah, just make sure you've tightened up the band on this joint as well. Remember, which is nipped up loosely before to be able to fit it, but once it's in, just nip that up. Right, and the next job is just to finish off by putting the engine breather pipe on. And then just doing up the Jubilee clip or whatever clip you have on it. Make sure everything's nice and tight now. That's it. Job done. Take the car for a spin. Connect your battery back up, take the car for a spin. And hopefully you'll see a bit of an improvement in terms of the responsiveness of your turbo. So, thank you for watching. I hope that's been useful for you. And if you've got any questions, do contact Steve Parker Land Rovers. Thank you.